Well, we have a great room today. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Charles McClymans. I'm the club president, and it's so great to see so many people in the audience today. Today's meeting is being sponsored by Kay Schwichtenberg and the Fair Share Coalition, and we have a number of them here today, board members and guests, so welcome to all of them. Thank you. Kay has been a member of our club since 2013 and is the retired CEO of Central Life Sciences. Kay is sponsoring today's meeting on behalf of Fair Share, which celebrates the connection between farmers and eaters. I like that. Their core programs provide assistance for low-income households to access fresh produce, support farmers with educational workshops and farmer-to-farmer support, encourage the next generation of farmers with formalized training programs and internships, strengthen and connect our agricultural community to national CSA networks, and is the founder and sponsor of Madison's beloved Bike the Barns Fall fundraiser. So thank you, Kay and Fair Share, for today's sponsorship. And now I have a sad announcement that our friend and fellow Rotarian Ralph Cagle passed away this past Friday, December 1st, at the age of 78. He was Professor Emeritus of the UW-Madison Law School and had been a member of our Rotary Club for 14 years. I got to know Ralph first through my gym, where his son Ben was a coach, and I kept seeing him. I'm like, didn't I see you at Rotary also? And so we had that connection as well. Our club has made a $100 donation to the Madison Rotary Foundation to establish a memorial in Ralph's name. And anyone wishing to make a gift to this fund can send their contribution to the Rotary office. We extend our sympathies to Ralph's wife, Tanya, and his family. Let's take a moment of silence. Thank you. Please remain standing for our opening music. Robert Reed will lead us in singing America the Beautiful with Peter Gray on guitar.
Oh, beautiful for spacious sky, for amber waves of rain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and round the hood with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert and Peter. Joy Cardine is going to come up and introduce today's guest. Got a raucous crowd here today, Joy. So.
Welcome to our guests. I'm very happy to announce our many guests today. Please rise when I say your name and stay standing until the end when we can welcome you as a group. Carrie Allard is a guest of Alex Vitania. Annie Johnston is a guest of Melinda Heinrichs. Claire Canapel is a guest of Oscar Morales. Dagny Maholsky is a guest of the Community Grants Committee. Rick Pearson, a guest of Brian Baskin. Freddie Pilleen II is a guest of Melinda Heinrichs. Robin Reisenfeld is a guest of Ann Lucky. Katie Ryan is a guest of Ann Lucky. Jason Verhilst is a guest of Tammy Thayer. And then Kay Schwichtenberg has many guests. Her guests include Barb Brown, Megan Costello, Carolyn Phelan, Liz Gross, Bill Herman, Sarah Jane Ugoretz, Sherry King, Rick Clemmy, Scott Lasser, Sarah Leong, Carol Ryderbush, Tess Romansky, Claire Stoner Feisenheld, and that's it for Kay. A couple of guests didn't arrive yet. And Maria Guerra Lapasic is a guest of Janet Perino. Let's welcome our guests.
Thank you, Joy. Today's moment of gratitude is going to be provided by Jim Taylor. Jim is a longtime member of the club, and he's not able to be here today, but he did send it in, so I'm going to read his moment of gratitude on his behalf. And Jim says, each year there are so many worthy charities who write for our support, and each letter has an appealing request. One of our difficult tasks is to decide what disease research we should support. To address the many choices, I have decided to contribute primarily to those that have had a direct impact on my life. My wife died of ovarian cancer, so that is high on my list. Macular degeneration is also on the list because I'm suffering from both wet and dry degeneration. And I experienced firsthand the impact of polio on my young friends when there was no cure for a period of 10 years. These three diseases are at the top of my list, but only polio can now be prevented worldwide. Rotary has championed the eradication task not only locally but in the whole world with an effective prevention program. That makes me so grateful for what Rotary has done and is continuing to do. Polio not only strikes early in life, but returns with a vengeance later for the early survivors. No other organization but Rotary has attacked a disease worldwide. It is with great pride and gratitude I claim Rotary membership in this quest. The task is not over, and the continuing wars keep the end from coming. It still needs our support to end this disease once and for all. All Rotarians are needed to finish the difficult task. So, thank you, Jim. And we have 5 new members today, and I'm going to announce them, and I would ask them to stand along with their sponsors. The first is Renee Buchanan. Would you please stand with your sponsor, Joyce Bromley? Renee is a clinical scientist for Merck Pharmaceutical Company. She was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and now makes her home on Madison's North Side with her husband, Brett. She holds a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of Northern Iowa and a master's degree in biology from the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Renee serves as a board member on the Northside Planning Council and volunteers for the Madison Professional Women for Good. She enjoys running, traveling, and theater. Please remain standing, and will Chris Campbell please stand with his sponsor, Susan Schmitz. Chris is president and CEO of Better Life, a 125-year-old member-owned, community-based life insurance company. He and his wife, Amelia, make their home in downtown Madison. They have 2 adult children. Chris holds a bachelor's degree in government with a concentration in economics from Dartmouth College and an MBA degree from Kellogg School of Graduate School of Management. He serves on the board of the Life Insurance Direct Marketing Association as well as the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Cooking, cycling, and hiking are among his favorite pastimes. Please remain standing, and will Robin Ryan please stand with her sponsor, Bob Sorge. Is Bob here today? Oh, okay. Oh, Susan's standing in. So, Robin is the executive director of Literacy Network. She is originally from Amherst, Massachusetts, and makes her home on Gregory Street in Madison. Robin has 2 adult children. She holds a bachelor's degree in government from Harvard University and a master's degree in public affairs, as well as a Juris Doctorate degree from the University of Texas at Austin. She is a member of the State Bar of Wisconsin and the American Federation of Musicians. Robin enjoys being a violinist in the Madison Symphony Orchestra and the Ancora String Quartet. Yes, Robert has already recruited her for the music committee. Right, Robert? Right. Please stay standing, and would Jason Salas, who's that guy? Oh, there he is. He's standing in the back of the room. Jason, please stand with your sponsor, Paul Hoffman. Is Paul here today? I'll stand in for Paul today, okay? All right. Jason is the general manager of the Park Hotel. He's a former Rotarian at Madison Horizons, where he served as club president 2015 and 16, and was also a member of the Fitchburg-Verona Rotary Club. He was born in Chicago. Jason and his wife, also fellow Rotarian Renee Moe, have 2 children, and they live on Madison's north side. Jason is the recipient of several Best of Brand awards from Wyndham Flags, IHG Radisson, Choice Hotels, and Best Western. He's a member of the United Way Tocqueville Society and has served as a volunteer for the Rainbow Project for 20 years. He enjoys spending time with his family, is a comedian at heart, loves the cinema, and I will just say that, isn't he the host with the most? He really is. He does a fantastic job. I would like to remind our new Rotarians that you will receive your pin in a moment, but that pin is the only thing that you need to access over 37,000 Rotary clubs worldwide. So just think about that. 37,000 clubs. Let's welcome our new members. Awesome. Great to have 5 new members. Charles Tubbs is going to come up and give us an update on our annual fund campaign. Coming up here, Charles.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. It's me again. The sooner you start paying up, you won't have to look at me anymore. Face only a mother can love. Thank you again, President Charles. We're in week 5 of our annual fund to benefit the Madison Rotary Foundation. To this date, we have 231 people who have contributed. We're seeking 172 of you to pay up. Our goal is that all members make a gift in any amount. We have changed our programs of focus to be greater impact on our representing in our downtown Rotary group. This year, the Rotary grants focus on investing in our #1 resource, our children. Otherwise, who would be at risk of being left behind in school. Our funds will help them catch up and take advantage of all societies has to offer. The organizations are offering support, other students mentoring, kid-friendly environments, safe places to go, after-school homework, trained by professionals, training from preschools so they can do better, meet the challenges of students, create opportunities in the lives of our students. We are centering on programs around education, upstream preventions, because it's where our Rotarians can be more impact. This is where we can make a difference. If you not have given yet, you still have that opportunity. Pick up the website, take a look at the pledge, and make your gift. I just want to add one last thing here. Well, I should add 2 last things. Is that okay, boss? Okay. Currently, we have $110,370.31 contributed at this point. Our goal is $135,000. We're about 82% of the way. So if everybody gives this week, I won't have to come up next week. How's that? Total participants, as I said, 231. Total membership, 403. So we got about 57% of the people participating. So we need your forms back, but most of all, we need your contributions. I just want to add, last week I showed you something that I think got people's attention. I decided to bring them back this week. So don't get any ideas there, Steve. Okay? But what was amazing, I was standing in the hallway last week, and several of the Rotarian members came up to me. One told me, and he's here today, when he saw the handcuffs, he made a donation and a check of $1,000. So that's beautiful. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep showing you these. And our former president, Ellsworth, he came up and he wanted to try them on. And I told him if he hadn't made his payment, he'll be wearing them until Christmas. So pay up. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Charles, can if they make a donation, can they get a get out of jail free card from you?
After Christmas.
After Christmas, all right. But we do have, Brian Baskin once again has generously donated a gift card. This time it is a $50 gift card to Food Fight for those of you who have given. So would you be so kind as to take the cuffs off and reach into that canister?
Oh, just one. Keep dropping it.
Who's the lucky one? You do have to be present. Peter Covey, is he here today? No. Let's try one more.
Okay.
Lynn Roth is here today. Lynn, come on up and claim your prize.
Sir?
Thank you. I will also have 2 tickets to an Overture Center production that I'll announce at the end, so you can be thinking about that. You can also make a donation. We have a large impact grant report coming up. Last month, we announced the 4 large impact educational grants that our foundation has awarded. There are some sheets on the tables if you haven't seen them. Over the past 3 meetings, we've heard reports from 3 of the organizations, and today we will hear from the final organization, which is Vera Court, and Dagny Mahalski is here to tell us about the good work that they're doing. Vera Court Neighborhood Center. Coming up, Dagny.
Hello, thank you for having me here today. My name is Dagny Mahalski, and I am the Grants and Marketing Manager at Vera Court Neighborhood Center, Inc. Our agency runs 2 neighborhood centers, so there's Vera Court Neighborhood Center on the north side of Madison and Bridge Lake Point Winona, or BLW Neighborhood Center on the southeast side of Madison. Our mission is to offer growth and enrichment opportunities to community residents that reflect the changing needs, strengths, and diversity of our community. Our goal is to identify community needs and provide high-quality programming to children, youth, and adults in the areas of education, recreation, health, and nutrition. In 2017, Vera Court Neighborhood Center added an academic program, Milestones, to our youth programs with the goal to increase student literacy and math skills to better support their success in school. This program has a great success rate with over 75% of regularly attending students increasing their literacy and math skills every year. BLW has always offered academic support through homework help and academic enrichment and activities, but in the past few years, program staff have noticed that the academic needs of our students are not being met. In the Madison Metropolitan School District, there exists a significant education gap, with 84 to 91% of students of color testing below grade level in reading and math, as well as English language learners and students who are economically disadvantaged. With the help of this grant, BLW will implement the Milestones academic program to address this significant need. An academic coordinator and team of tutors will provide academic case management, as well as weekly one-on-one and small group tutoring services to all the students in elementary through high school, with the goal of bringing students up to grade level standards in literacy and math. With an emphasis on school partnership, family engagement, and regular staff professional development, this program will not only increase academic skills, but instill confidence in our students that they have the tools they need to succeed. If any Madison Rotary members want to further help the implementation of this project, in addition to awarding us this generous grant, we are always looking for volunteers to help our students practice their reading and math skills. From all the staff in our agency and all the families that we work with, thank you so much for awarding us this grant and supporting the families in our communities.
Thank you, Dagny. Didn't you tell me that you started as a tutor? Right? So there's opportunities, plenty of volunteer opportunities at Vera Court Neighborhood Center. And again, you've heard from the 4 large grant recipients. Please give to the campaign. It's not the amount that you give, but we are also, our goal is 100% participation from all Rotarians. So please remember that. This is preparing kids in our community to succeed in school and to succeed in life. That's why it's called excellence in education. So we hope that many of these children that are working to get up to grade level now could be Rotary Scholars sometime in the future. So that's what this is all about. Thank you all for your generosity. Okay, this past Monday evening during our board meeting, our club board of directors held elections for our officers for the upcoming year, and I'd like to introduce the club officers for the upcoming year and beyond. And if you're here, would you please stand? Jason Ilstrup, yeah, he made it, you know. He's going to be president-elect. There he is. And he automatically becomes president. Anthony Gray is the current president-elect nominee and will automatically become president on July 1 of 2025. Mark Green was elected as our next president-elect nominee and will become president in July of 2026. Right? Alex Vitani was elected Sergeant-at-Arms, and continuing in their roles will be Pat Jenkins as Secretary, Tar Grays as Treasurer, and Nick Curran as Assistant Treasurer. Let's please give all of these. Thank you all for serving. The leadership succession is in very good hands, so I really appreciate that everybody would step up and serve in this important role. Congratulations. Melanie Ramey. Melanie is right there. You have your microphone, right, Melanie? And she has an announcement about meeting sponsorships.
Well, as you know, we have entered the season of giving. And tomorrow night, Hanukkah starts. Then we have Christmas. Then we have Kwanzaa. And as a truly ecumenical person, I support all of the holidays where I might get a present. Now, I know foremost in your mind is, what possible present can I give to Melanie? And so I decided to make your life very simple. On your tables today is this green piece of paper. In this green piece of paper, it says that you would like to sponsor or co-sponsor one of the club meetings next year. So if you will sign your name on this card and leave it with me today or at the desk at the front or wherever, this will be a wonderful present for me. Now then, some of you are confused about the sponsorships. Now some of you are just confused, I know, but I'm going to try to make this simple. And also some of you are new members from when we started this. We actually started the club sponsorships as a result of the pandemic. During the pandemic, we continued to meet each week. We continued our fellowships, we continued our scholarships and all the community grants. But we had to dip into our reserves in order to fund all of that since we weren't taking in much money. And so at the end of the pandemic, the board decided that we should offer sponsorships of the club meetings as a way to replenish some of our reserves. They also decided, without consulting with me, I might mention, that I would be the one to sell them. And so in any event, for the last couple of years, we have raised $25,000 each year that has aided the cause. Because when we came back, we also discovered, as you all did with many other things, that the price of things has increased. And so the room charge here had increased, the food increased, and so forth. And so now then, the money that we raise on the sponsorships really goes to keep the ways we have to increase the dues to a very small minimum amount of money. Now then, the other thing is this, that some of you could be more creative about the sponsorships. You can sponsor, you see, in behalf of yourself, you can sponsor for your company, or you can sponsor to support a nonprofit. And so some of you say, well, Melanie, I don't really fit into any of these. Well, here is a great opportunity for you coming up. Ellis Waller, where are you, Ellis? Stand up, stand up. This is Ellis Waller, a very nice man. He is also our official bagpiper. Anyway, Ellis is forming a group, and you can join it. This is a group made up of members who have never been in the news. Now, I I know for a fact that Ellis's wife has been paying the newspaper for years to keep his name out. But nonetheless, for whatever reason you may have that you have never been in the news, then this is the group for you. And so if you'll see Ellis afterwards and get your name on the list so he can allot you a certain little amount that you have to pay. Now, the other thing is this, that when people get together as groups, and some of the fellowship groups have sponsored, which has been wonderful, I don't ask for a lot of bona fides. For example, a few weeks ago, we had a group that were alleged graduates of the University of Illinois. And so they sponsored. But it was highly suspicious on the day that it came to be, because here were some of them with these big sweatshirts with eyes on them and so forth. One of them didn't have on a sweatshirt, but she had on a blue sweater and an orange necklace. But one of them didn't have on anything but just a regular shirt. So I don't know how it's possible to go to university 4 years and not find the bookstore so that you can sweatshirt. I guess. And then I looked there, and here's Walt Stewart. I said, Walt Stewart, you didn't graduate from the University of Illinois. Why are you doing this group? And so he sort of hemmed and hawed, and he said, well, I went to the campus school. So Walt Stewart graduated from kindergarten at the University of Illinois. But for in any event, however you want to get in a group, get in one. And this is a great opportunity to support the club by sponsorship a meeting. And so just remember to leave this gift for me today, and I will appreciate them all.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay, we have a few quick announcements. So our sponsor today, Kay and Fair Share, have left brochures on the table. And you might also notice that there is a Fair Share cookbook on the table. How can you get that cookbook? Well, look on the back of the brochure, and one lucky person, there's a jewel on the back of one of those brochures, and that lucky person, is the winner. Make sure you play fairly. Is it fair to all concerned? Okay, thank you, Kay. I also want to remind you that we have 2 upcoming Rotary travel opportunities. The Rotary Club in Milwaukee is planning a trip to Guatemala in mid-March, and Rotary District Friendship Exchange to Brazil in April. Okay, I've lost... I should have done that at the end of the meeting, right? Yep. Okay. One more announcement, folks. One more announcement. Okay, the Ethics Symposium is continuing planning for over 200 high school juniors. They need volunteers, so please sign up for the Ethics Symposium. Now we'll go on to birthdays. We have birthdays to celebrate with a bit of humor and wisdom to complement our Rotary mission, and we invite them to make a gift to the Synergy Scholarship Fund. December 3rd, Greg Everts. December 7th, Bill Connors, who says, sharing a quote from Marcel Proust, "We do not receive wisdom, we discovered ourselves after a journey through the wilderness which no one else can make for us, which no one can spare us." December 8th, Kay Schwichtenberg. December 8th, Ken Yuska. Please join me in wishing them a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. We do have, I'm going to skip through members in the news. We have a lot of members in the news, probably about everyone except Alice Waller. Where you can see them up on the screen. Rotarians always doing great work in the community, because I don't want to short Brandon, who's here ready to tell us all about esports. So on to our speaker today. It's Brandon Tschacher, who's the founder of Milwaukee Esports Alliance, which is a leading accelerator and central hub for Wisconsin's growing esports industry. Brandon has been recognized recognized as a power broker and 40 under 40 by the Milwaukee Business Journal. He was named one of the Philanthropic Five by the United Way of Greater Milwaukee and received Graduate of the Last Decade honors by his alma mater, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Brandon's going to talk with us about esports and how it's exploding here in Wisconsin and across the country. Brandon, we look forward to your presentation, and we have made a gift in your honor to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thank you. We'll have Q&A, time permitting, afterwards, so let's welcome Brandon Tschacher.
You guys are a riot. This is Melanie's speech. I would never want to follow up because that was not only funny but informative and a great call to action. So Melanie, you're my hero. And I will just start by saying thank you. I've been exposed to Rotary clubs in Milwaukee, Cedarburg, kind of around the state, and the work that you all have done for a long time but do today is really inspiring. And I say that as a father of a 4-year-old and with a wife due in February. It's become very real to me that people who are doing good in the world are more important than ever. So I just want to say thank you, because there are people here who have been doing this for a long time, some of a little while that are just getting in there, and it's really cool. So I'll just start with that, and also thank you to Janet and Jane and all of the team who invited me and who have been really good leading up to this. Like, all of this presentation, the communication is really top-notch. I have the opportunity to speak about this topic a fair amount right now because it's pretty hot, and so it's not always this good. You don't always get great rooms full of awesome people and big screens and great microphones, so I just want to say thank you to that team. And I was given clear instructions to wrap this thing up by 1:05, because you build your afternoons around it. So we're going to keep it brief, because I actually don't like to pontificate. I like question and answer. There's a lot of curiosity in the world, I'm sure as well in this room, about video games. Many of you, grandkids, kids yourself, that you may play, know about video games, but don't really understand probably the industry side of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I always like to start this conversation with just a quick raise of hands. If I were to ask you, do you know what esports is? Who would raise their hand? Okay. I'm going to give that like 35%, which is really good, actually, so kudos to you all for being informed. I find it valuable to just do kind of a quick fire run through of what is this thing, so that hopefully when you all leave this room, if someone were to ask you that again, everyone could raise their hands and at least give a cursory answer to the question, because it's really important and it's really impactful, particularly for these future generations, but even today. So to just talk about what is esports, right? So you can think of it as compared to normal sports, basketball, football, baseball, but played in a video game setting, played competitively. So we're within probably the first 10 years of this existing, whereas football, basketball, baseball, et cetera, have existed for hundreds plus. Typically, an esport or a competitive video game is played on a PC, console, or on a mobile phone. So all of your grandkids or your kids that you see in front of TVs or in front of their computer, they're doing esports, so they're playing video games in that way. I've listed on the screen just a number of ways that people compete. We don't have to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but it can be team-oriented. That's one we have a particular focus on, because there's a lot of opportunity there for camaraderie and growth and development. There's also things where people can play individually, single player or first person. And then you've got sort of the traditional sports tilt. Some of you may have heard of Madden, NBA 2K, titles like this, which have been around for 20, 30 years now, and there's a lot of popularity in. So just as a high level, you can walk away saying, aha, it's people playing video games competitively, just like they do in basketball, football, or baseball. They've got a number of ways to do it. So if we just accomplished that today, thank you, but we'll go on for a couple more minutes. I think what's interesting, that seems to be one of the things I get excited to share the most about, is it's really not just gaming. It's actually become a pretty sizable business. It's expected this year that it's going to surpass around $1 billion in revenue internationally. And then I put on the screen just a few of the ways that that money comes today. For those of you, I'm sure, who are business owners or involved in these types of things, it's important to know, how does a business work? And I won't sugarcoat it. This model is not something that is mature enough to have growing jobs all over the country. It's really new. And so So what you see there are things like media rights, things you'll see in traditional sports, live event ticket sales, people coming on site to play a video game or compete in a video game, merchandise, familiar with that. In-game purchases might be a little bit more new, but it's a growing area of video games. This is when someone is playing a video game. Often now it's called FTP, free to play. So you actually can play the game for free, but then you get the opportunity during the game to purchase additional ways to go up through the levels. That's become a really popular model of video gaming, whether it's good or not, TBD. Winning tournaments. So this is oftentimes also something people will have been cursorily aware of because they'll hear something like, this kid won $75,000 or he's paying for his house off of a video game. How is that happening? It does happen. And so it's another interesting way that the dollars come through. The one, though, that I wanted to highlight that is really the biggest part of it, and it's a lot of because the interest in next generation or the interest in reaching groups that traditionally have not been well served, is through sponsorship. So you see a lot of the Chipotles, you see a lot of the consumer brand goods. You see some of these major companies, Coca-Cola, Disney, all the rest, that are getting involved in this because they see it as truly an inroad to Gen Z and beyond, although interestingly the average age of the US gamer is 31, so we're out there still too. So just as an FYI, that's kind of how the business model works. Demographically, I think it's important to note that this is far more popular in Asia and in Europe. North America is still fairly new to its adoption of esports. If I were just speaking candidly, I would actually tell you I doubt that the North American market will ever reach what it has reached in those areas. But that doesn't mean it's still going to be massive, because it already is. It's just demographically, that's typically where you see the most popular esports regions in the world. There's a lot of reasons for that, density of population, economics, etc. But right now they are what I would call the leaders globally in esports. So important to know. Gameplay, I mentioned that a lot of folks today play on PC or on console, but a really growing component is mobile. So it is likely that gameplay will continue to evolve in a way that it is not always going to be stationary in front of a chair and a screen and a console, that eventually it will be AR, VR integrated into movement, something like this room. So that's an exciting development. We're seeing a little bit of that in China already today, but just again, informatively, here it is now, and it's probably going to evolve into that, the future. I'm doing good on time. All right, so I liked this article from the New York Times. It just reads, step aside LeBron and Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys, and make room for Banjo and Kazooie, which was a title in an N64 back in the day when I played video games. I think what it's most indicative, or what I wanted to just kind of get to this group is there's a real changing shift in the next generations of who their idols are, who they look after, who they watch, and how they watch. And video games, streamers, influencers, people in that creator economy have truly taken, in many regards, the place of some of a more traditional hero status in traditional sports. And I'm not going to try to present it as that it's everybody, but it's really prominent. And I encourage you, if you have young kids, grandkids, under 18 basically, just ask them the question, hey, do you watch video games online? And I think the answer will surprise you, because it really has become a currency of their culture to be able to communicate and connect through those methodologies. And it's just incredibly fascinating to watch, particularly if you're not native to it. It doesn't make sense that what do you mean you're watching someone play video games, let alone you spending the time doing it yourself. So I just think that's worth mentioning because it's kind of a fun dynamic. This is small, but I think the other important thing to understand is, from an industry perspective, I mentioned the revenue, right? Billions of dollars internationally. It's really a business. It's also about career development. We have some folks here from Madison La Follette that are involved in, helping folks in the high school realm or middle school realm get into jobs, STEM, career development. Esports is a burgeoning industry with just as many of those new types of opportunities. And you'll see some video around some events that we put on that I think will help explain some of this. But just imagine when you go to a football game, we all understand, there's 6,000 jobs surrounding the field. You've got refs, you've got production, you've got broadcast, you've got every element of that, and similarly in esports. So a lot of times it seems as though today still, and less than it was, let's say 10 years ago, someone might say, hey, I'd like a career in video games. And that's been scoffed at for a long time. I think this is just a very helpful slide to look and see, no, actually, it doesn't mean you're going to be playing the game as a professional athlete. One of the questions I get asked all the time is mostly by collegiate kids, very aspiring. They say, hey, I'd like to play video games professionally. What's it going to take? And I say, it'll be less than 1% like every other vocation you wanted to do, but probably even less, because you actually are usually retired by about 25. You don't make it past then because of the fast twitch reflexes required to play at that competitive level. And oh, by the way, it requires 8 to 10 hours a day. So it's just one of those things, right? So I usually try to lead the youth into a career and say, maybe you won't be playing the game, but don't let up. Go get a degree in computer science, go get a degree in graphic design, go get a STEM career-focused degree, and you'll be there, you'll be in the game, cliche. So just wanted to point that out. This again is small, but so to speak to Wisconsin, because I think we have a really important story. And so our organization, the Milwaukee Esports Alliance, I basically have kept it Milwaukee because that was our goal, Madison, Milwaukee, Southern Wisconsin. But we really support the state of Wisconsin. I just don't call us Wisconsin because I don't want to be saying I know how to win everywhere. But some of what you'll see on that screen, and hopefully we can send some of this out afterwards, is just, okay, so what does it look like? What's happening in the state of Wisconsin? Starts on the left in middle school. So middle school is one of those areas where a ton of growth is occurring around the state. I'll call it organically. You're seeing it at YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, rec centers, a lot of county stuff, but there's also a couple for-profit institutions that are kind of more of a national franchise that are starting to say, hey, if you're in middle school and you'd like to come to a Code Ninjas, we'll also have you start to compete nationally against others in video games. So there's a lot of growth in gameplay in the middle school realm. It's not quite as a business yet, burgeoning. The next on that list is Scholastic. So we would consider this kind of the high school realm. And the data I would share with you is about 6 years ago, there were 7 quote-unquote teams in the state of Wisconsin, and this year we had 186. So by probably the next 2 years, there'll be 400. Every high school pretty much in the state of Wisconsin is figuring out how are they going to adopt, institute, or implement an esports entity or program at their high school. Because it's simply being asked. There's just people who are saying, I raise my hand to be a part of this. And candidly, it isn't always the, hey, I play football, basketball, baseball, etc. A lot of times these are people who say, this is my sport, and now I have a new community for whom to call home and to have a great experience at this institution, where maybe in the past they didn't, right? And so then you try to tie it into, can we also get you involved in STEM careers? And that's where a lot of the tie-in comes with this, which is very exciting. So the high school realm growing rapidly. Next would come collegiate. So as of last year, around this time, we had 27 Wisconsin universities with a program. We will be, as of Q1 of 2024, at 36. So 36 universities in Wisconsin have a program today. This oftentimes means they have a coach. They've hired someone to be the coach of that team or a director. Most of them are starting to build or put in facilities called LAN facilities, so filled with computers and consoles and abilities for people to practice and play, stream, broadcast, kind of an immersive experience. Collegiate, I would say, is probably it will be the thing that will lead esports into the future, because colleges typically have some dollars available and they're willing to invest. I know this has been a topic at UW-Madison for the past 3 years. Madison Area College, Madison MATC has a great program. Madison College has a program. I don't know if Paisley Bennett is here. She's in the back there. She's the coach at Madison Edgewood Esports. Paisley's done an incredible job. I recommend having a conversation with her if you'd like to know what one of our better programs looks like and is growing to be. They were just at one of our events this weekend and did very well. So Paisley's awesome, but college is a really exciting place. We do have one professional esports entity in the state of Wisconsin, and pro defined as, you have employees, you have revenue, you're a real business is how I define it, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks have a subsidiary called Bucks Gaming. So they play NBA 2K, which is a basketball game, but they've been a great partner to us, and they are a pro sports franchise. The rest, I would say, just to the right of that, are venues and leagues. So you've got places, brick and mortar facilities, where people are going to play video games. We actually in Madison just had one open up in Fitchburg called Mission Gaming, and supposedly in December there will be one opening on State Street called The Guild. This is a really difficult economic model to sustain, but I'm really excited for the enthusiasm for the kids that are opening it, and if you want to go check it out and see what one looks like, they're very cool. So you've got that, and then leagues, and I'll talk a little bit about kind of the role we play, but leagues are the opportunity where kids go and compete. It's where Madison Edgewood goes and competes the same way you could look at the NCAA or Big Ten, that type of a thing. On the bottom left there, though, something that I think is good to know, so that's all esports oriented. Some of the data you see there in terms of the jobs supported in Wisconsin or the economic impact in the 300+ million, that actually comes from game development. And I always think that's another very interesting thing to make sure you're aware of. Game development are the people who make the games. Madison has a ton of game developer shops, which is incredible, right? That employs W-2 workers, and they do incredible work all over the world. You can think of esports as the downstream of that. Esports is the competitive gamers of those games. As an industry, we're much less mature, and so we're trying to grow that. I would say, I think in the state of Wisconsin, we may be the only LLC for esports, where I believe, based on the recent data, there were 75 game development shops in Wisconsin, predominantly most in Madison. So kudos to you all for leading the charge in that. Just on the right, for those that are interested, these are our most popular titles. So what people like playing the most: Super Smash Bros., Rocket League, Fortnite, Valorant, League of Legends. If you have questions on those afterwards or want to play, hit me up. So I won't do too much talk about us, but I think it's helpful to know just who we are as an organization. Our whole goal is to do stuff like this. It's to inform people, to get people involved, both individuals as well as corporations. As I said, there's a lot of folks or organizations saying, hey, we think there's a role for this, either on a retention or recruitment basis, or we just believe in it as something for the future of our state from an industry lens, because we are at a real interesting linchpin moment where we're being battled by the coasts to own this space. And it isn't like basketball where the WIAA can just be the state entity and that's who plays under it. Our high school scholastic leagues could be owned in California. So there's real impetus to understand this thing and get involved, and so we try to provide that. We try to be a conduit to communication, to connection. We have newsletters, we have events, all this good stuff. So just know that's what we do. I think there's going to be a video that plays here in a moment. I think it'll be fun for you to see. So one of the bigger events that we do is the Wisconsin Esports Summit. It's held every March, the Panther Arena downtown Milwaukee. This is just sort of hoping to be a gathering place for all of those interested in esports, or that want to get into esports. So I think you'll just see a quick video of what that looks like.
Just a huge shout out to everyone for being here. Thank you for coming. You guys put on an amazing show, and we'll see you back here in 2024. Thanks, Brandon!
And we're always looking for people to get involved or to attend, so I would put a shout out there for you, or maybe in some post-meeting notes. Check it out, because it is a great place to connect. You saw gameplay there, you saw networking, all traditional things. The next one I want to show you is an event called Cream City Convergence. So we partnered with the Milwaukee Bucks and several what are called tournament organizers, people who actually coordinate the playing of the games, to put on the state's largest competitive tournament this past September at the Baird Arena downtown. So the video you're going to see here is what it looks like when people are coming to compete for pay. So they are trying to win prize money. We had over 10 states attend in year one. We had about 600 attendees. We probably anticipate somewhere in the 1,000 to 2,000 range in year two. The biggest in the country is at 25,000 right now, just for scope, over at the MGM. So I just wanted to share, because again, informationally, here's what a tournament looks like in Wisconsin today.
Milwaukee, we are here. Finally, we're here. Many, many months in the making, and we're finally here at the Baird Center for Cream City.
been a crazy journey, but it's feeling really good right now.
The heart of gaming is people connecting and enjoying themselves with one another.
So it feels really cool to like that Wisconsin finally has this, and I don't have to go to another state for it. It feels really nice.
Let's go, Stinky.
City Convergence motto, our champion.
Our first place Melee champion, Skurzo!
Ooh, stage control is important. Oh, it's another one. Misses the PK fire conversion, and Ned, one edge guard away from taking Cream City Convergence with the back air. Beautiful DI. And in game 5, refusing to get reset, Ned takes Cream City Convergence over Atata.
Oni Fireball getting the fucking back. I'm not just talking to you. You're through. Eli.
Popping off a little.
The Chester. We're in grand finals reset. Cream City reset.
And leveraging the plus frames on.
No! This is going to be a whip, and Jack is going to take it. He is your C3 champion.
So I always have to smile. Thank you. I just always have to smile because actually that gentleman at the end, his name is Jack. By the way, esports competitive gamers, they would refer to what we all think of as our names as government names, and they actually refer to as their gamer tags as their person. So it's a very real thing that I at 37 had a really hard time getting used to. But he's a Milwaukee kid, and he actually just got signed to a major gaming label around the country, and I think he won $3,000 for that. And it's just such a cool story to see him because his mom was there, and it's just one of those things where you're like, this is cool to see that growth. So thank you for watching that. I know we're coming up on time. Just some other things. We're working on legislation. It's really important. In other states, as I said, it's a competition. North Carolina, California, they're putting a lot of legislation forward to fund the growth of video games, both in the development space for jobs with tax credits, as well as to build institutions and public-private partnerships. So it's going to probably be necessary for Wisconsin to compete, to be in that arena. So we have helped with that by putting on legislative sessions and working with lobbyists, hooray, to get some of that stuff done. So I think I'll just share that. That's kind of what we're here for. I know we're at time, but if there are any questions, or I don't know, Jen, how are we doing on time? Do we need to lock this thing up? 3 minutes. You raise your hand first. Go. Oh.
Thank you, Brandon. Great presentation. Thanks for advocating for this space. And I'm sorry, Alex Vitani. Lots of studies on the positive effects of traditional sports participation. Given the youth, I guess, of this field, any research on the positive effects, academic, personal self-esteem, et cetera, for participants in that space?
Great question. The immediate results are incredibly positive, and I would frame it under the lens of this again. So what I have at least seen, I've been doing this about 3 years, so I don't try to make myself as the foremost expert, but I am a father and someone who pays close attention because I get asked a lot at things like this. Would you let your kids play video games? Pretty angrily. And so I always say here's moderation and all the rest, but this is serving a community predominantly that hasn't had a home, that hasn't had a place to go. It could be underrepresented communities, it could be diverse communities, a lot of LGBTQ, the whole thing. This is a place where they find community and home, so the results have actually been incredibly impactful because now you have those kids coming to school. So Milwaukee Public Schools, as an example, used federal funding that they had received to bring kids back from COVID who had just disappeared, had just actually stopped coming to school, and they wanted to bring them back. and they used esports as the manner to do it. And it's been working actually really well. So all of a sudden kids come back into the school, now they have a coach, now they have people taking care of them, now we can talk about academics, now we have a community for you to find a home in at that school, where previously you might have looked at that school and said, why do I have any affiliation here? I'm not a part of a sports team, I don't go to the games, this is not my school for me. Happens in college and high school. So the results academically, and I would say the results from a community, have been incredibly positive. And I think as it continues to grow, you'll see continued crossover. I mean, that's where I think in the mainstream media you understand, you see a lot of professional athletes, predominantly the younger, talented ones, that are both gamers as well as professional athletes today during their career. A.J. Dillon streams most nights, and he's the Packers running back, right? Quadzilla. He is as big of a gamer as he is a professional football player, and that's not uncommon, but I appreciate the question. Yes, thus far it's been very successful in bringing communities together and helping steward them down a career path or just a community to not feel alienated. Thank you for that. We good? 104, we got maybe one more. Oh, here we are.
Just wondering your thought on how to make sure that like teams, leagues, tournaments are inclusive of gamers with disabilities who use adaptive equipment.
Huge topic and not well funded today. One of the works that we have been doing is actually with a group called Eclusion, which is working on adaptive gaming equipment with Marquette University to try to provide quadriplegics with a mouthpiece to be able to play some of their favorite games. But I would tell you, besides our organization's affiliation with that, I think Able Gaming is the only other entity in the country, and they got a grant from Twitch for about $1 million to be able to pursue that. So I would tell you, while I wish I could say, oh, it's burgeoning and there's a million things, there's not. And I think that's probably just relevant for this entire topic. It's growing, but it is so in need of committed, interested parties, businesses, people, to be able to see this thing through and to be able to see it done, in my opinion, right, so that you have the guardrails around it so it isn't just taken by coastal VCs who want to capture a market, which is honestly some of the stuff we fight. So thank you for that question.
Great.
And I would love to chat with anyone. I was sticking around for a couple minutes. Please introduce, let's connect, LinkedIn. I appreciate you all being open to this conversation. Thank you very much.
Brandon, thanks so much for being with us today and explaining this emerging market. It's really interesting. So thanks for all the good work you're doing. Okay, I do have some Overture Center tickets. These were donated by Emily Grunwald at the Overture Center, and this is for a production coming up on Tuesday, January 16th at 7:30 p.m., and it is the Changemaker Speaker Series, Luck is a State of Mind, with Deanne Fitzmaurice at the Capitol Theater for ages 6 and up. The tickets have a $130 value. I'm going to put a challenge out. So remember last week we had tickets to the Children's Theater production, and they went for $450, right? So I'd like to get maybe like $10,000 for these. Or maybe 1,000, okay? So come on, Wes wants to do that? Come on up and claim them after the meeting, okay? These are great tickets, and thank you for Rotarians for donating these prizes. So Brandon, thanks for speaking with us today. Thanks for everyone who attended. Next week we will have our annual holiday celebration, so we don't have a formal program, but we will have cookies and all kinds of fun things for the holiday, special meal, and time for fellowship with each other. So we hope to see you all back here next week when we can begin to celebrate the holiday season together. And before we leave, would you please stand, and we will recite the Rotary four-way test together of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? We are adjourned. See you next week.